worry. You'll still catch a plane. You got,
10 minutes.
Hello, welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real and cult films. I'm your host, Thomas, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Brian. Hello. This week we wait at the terminals for our flights as we discuss 2005's Red Eye and Flightplan, both films from the same year. So we are with Red Eye first.
Hi, that's actually my seat.
You're kidding. You're not kidding. The name's Jackson.
Lisa. So what do you do?
As fate would have it, my business is all about you.
Red Eye is directed by Wes Craven on a budget of 25 million or 26 million, it could be. That's in question. I'll get to that a bit later. With a worldwide gross of $96,258,201. And it was written by Dan Foos and Carl Ellsworth. It stars Rachel McAdams as Lisa Risett, Cillian Murphy as Jack Ripner, and Brian Cox as Joe Risett. The synopsis, as IMDb reads, is Lisa, on her flight to Miami, befriends Jackson, who turns out to be a terrorist. Holding her hostage, he forces her to help him assassinate the United States Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. Do you want to start? Yeah, that's okay. This is a great film, no matter what you hear from Cillian Murphy. It's not a great film, though he apparently only took the role because he found Jackson quite an interesting character. Yeah, although I'd read somewhere he said he's not happy with his performance in the film. Yeah. I think it's a good performance. Yeah. Well acted movie, to be fair. Yeah. I think the story goes off the rails a bit as it goes on, but yeah, just before the final act, I would say. Yeah. We don't spoil it in any way, or anything. I think it just adds to the fun of it. I feel like I agree with Cillian Murphy on it, to be honest. He says it's not a great film, but it's a good B movie. Yeah. And I think he's kind of right about that. But my problem is that a B movie is still a film. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think he's like, it's not a great piece of cinema. Yeah. But for what it is, it's very fun. Yeah. Just because I also find a B movie quite hard to define. They're normally just mid to low budget genre pieces. Yeah. It usually just means it's straight to DVD release. Well, I mean, it's from a time where you used to have two films in the multiplexes and so on. Yeah. Do you remember the trailer for this by any chance? Because I do. Yeah. And it was always a film I wanted to watch. And the trailer kind of does what the film does in how it sets up the first third being like a rom-com. Yeah. And I kind of wish that's all the trailer was. You imagine it's 2005, you've got your date for the cinema, and you're going to see a rom-com, Red Eye, and you're thinking, oh, this is just a standard rom-com. And then about 30 minutes in, if that, I think it is, it just does this turn into this weird thriller. They'll be like, oh, this is a rom-com I can get behind. They should do more like these. I just want to say, I think they should do more rom-coms like that. Because for me, this film goes a bit, not all over the place, because it works. But it starts and it's very much like your regular rom-com meet cute kind of thing. Yeah. But then it goes into this like terrorist thriller plot. And then for the end, you're into like the finale of a slasher. Yeah. And I just find that a phenomenal turn of events. Not jarring in any way. It's not though, is it? No. I meant it seriously. Yeah. Oh, right. I thought you were being sarcastic. I was complimenting the writers and Wes Craven. Yeah, but you've already mentioned that Cillian Murphy wanted to take on this role. Did you see that he flew to Hollywood to have lunch with Wes Craven to discuss this 2 days before he was getting married? And apparently Wes Craven gave him the role because of his eyes. Do you think Cillian Murphy on that day also told him it's not a great film, but it's a B movie? Oh, like he read the script and was like, what you've got here isn't great. I like the character, but it's just B movie schlock. Maybe. I also saw that they thought about having, for his role, Adrian Brody, Zach Braff, and Jon Favreau. Yeah. I cannot see Jon Favreau working. Adrian Brody, I thought, yeah, he's quite an obvious choice for something like this. But Zach Braff, on the other hand, he was doing Scrubs around this time. Yeah. And I would love to have seen nothing from him other than this role now. Yeah. Because I imagine his role at the beginning of the film where he's doing the rom-com thing, you think, that's very fitting for Zach Braff. Yeah. And then it just spirals into this weird thing. You're like, Jesus, I'm never going to look at JD the same again. Yeah. JD, because obviously Zach Braff's character from Scrubs. For those that don't know. There's also a lot of cameos in this. Wes Craven's cameo got deleted. You can see it in the gag reel. He couldn't keep a straight face with his, I think she's like a script supervisor or something like that. So, but one of the writers, Carl Ellsworth, has a role He's the guy with all the women where they're like lent on shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, and then the final one is him, and he's like sat watching something on his laptop. This was also his first feature script to be made. He'd worked on TV before with Animorphs, Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Nice.
Great live action Mortal Kombat series for those that haven't seen it. It's definitely worth checking out, and I hope we get to cover it in the future. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Xena Warrior Princess. Great too. His next movie after this was Disturbia, which is a modern reimagining, really, of Rear Window from Alfred Hitchcock. He then did a remake of Wes Craven's Last House on the Left in 2009. He then worked on the remake of Red Dawn from 2012.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year the first one is. And then his next original feature is from a few years ago now. I think it was 2020.
Yeah.
Unhinged, with Russell Crowe as a deranged driver with road rage.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, it's such a fun Russell Crowe movie. I'm not a big fan of Russell Crowe, but that's one of my favourites of his.
Yeah.
And Dan Foos, who Ellsworth wrote this with, they were college friends and they'd been working on this for some years.
Yeah. Dan Foos has only worked on this.
Yeah, surprisingly. I would say maybe he's not the brains of this, but the fact Carl Ellsworth schlock seems to be just copying other people's work till you get to Unhinged, which isn't truly original, I don't feel.
A bit like a lesser falling down.
Yeah. Just makes me wonder, does he have original ideas at all? I mean, the execution's a big part, and I think all them films are executed quite well. Red Dawn got a lot of stick at the time, but I've not seen the original then, and I've still not seen it now, I'll be honest, a bit embarrassingly, because it's one of them sort of films I should be watching. We mentioned the cameos from the people in production, because there's quite a few in this. I haven't written them all down, I'm afraid, but it's got quite a few actors I spotted just in the cast. Yeah, because we've got, I'll start with the lesser known one. We've got Beth Toussaint, I think it's pronounced, as Lydia Keefe.
Right.
She's done quite a bit of TV work. She's the female caller in Scream 3. She's one of the lead women in Fortress 2.
Right.
And she's also one of the lead actresses in a 87 slasher called Berserker, which was free on YouTube. Somebody had just uploaded the whole movie and it was there to watch. And that's a great little cheesy 80s slasher piece. It's to do with like Norse mythology.
It was something weird like that.
It was good. And I think she also has a striking resemblance to Linda Hamilton, or she did back in Berserker anyway, because that's how I remembered her when I saw her in this. I was like, that's that woman that looks like Linda Hamilton. We've also got quite a big cast member here, I think. Robert Pine. Do you know Robert Pine?
Not my name.
He played Bob Taylor. He's the man and wife that are complaining at the beginning, and then they come back at the end.
Yeah.
That's Chris Pine's dad.
Right.
But he was one of the lead characters in Chips.
Right.
The original TV series Chips, not Dax Shepard's remake of Chips, which is actually a good buddy cop comedy worth checking out. We've then got Jayma May. She plays Cynthia in this. It's Rachel McAdams' friend at the desk.
Yeah.
But people, if they were watching it at the time, they'll recognise her as Charlie from season 1 of Heroes, which was the love interest for, was it Hiro Nakamura?
Yeah.
There's also Mark Macaulay. He played Dante in The Punisher. He was in Killer Joe, which is worth checking out as well. He's also a stunt guy. I think we've discussed him before on here, but I can't remember what from.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got Kyle Gallner as Headphones' kid brother.
Yeah.
Which I find weird. Kyle Gallner, people may know him as Bart Allen from Smallville. Did they actually call him Flash in Smallville? Or do they have him as Impulse? Yeah. Which was his comic counterpart anyway. Impulse, wasn't it, for Bart?
Yeah.
But people will probably recognise him from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. And he was in The Haunting in Connecticut. He was the main kid that got possessed in that. And most recently, Smile.
Yeah.
He's in Scream 5, I think, because he's outside the club when Red Right Hand plays again.
Yeah.
I just find it odd that he's Headphone Kid's brother when he's a bigger actor than the Headphone Kid himself, which I never wrote down, but you said he was in the movie that I nearly chose for our Halloween special last week, Shrooms.
Yeah, it's Max Cash. I'm going to ask you if you recognised him as Troy.
No, I did not. Although they look a lot different. They've got different hair. There's barely any screen time of him in Red Eye to get a proper look anyway.
And you were too focused on Kyle Gallner.
Yeah, because it's like, that's Kyle Gallner, a guy that I've definitely seen in many other things.
Yeah, no.
Apparently, though, speaking of cast, again, Rachel McAdams and Cillian Murphy were the first choices.
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Lauren Lester.
But, Lauren Lester, voice of Robin, Dick Grayson Robin from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
He's also Thomas Jane's neighbour in Home.
Yeah.
Great HBO series. It lasted 3 seasons. Well worth checking out for anyone that can find it to watch anywhere. It's about a teacher struggling with financial problems after a divorce with his wife, and so decides he's going to become, essentially a gigolo. But in the show, they refer to it as a happiness consultant, which is just a great gag anyway. But it's a show worth checking out. Also, keeping it on track of cast, apparently this was written for Sean Penn and Robin Wright. Yep. But Wes Craven opted for younger actors. Yeah. Which I find odd that it was for Sean Penn because, well, we'll get to that again.
Yeah.
I have actually got the quote that Murphy said about this film. This was in a GQ interview, I think it was somewhere.
Right.
He'd said he doesn't think it's a good movie, it's a good B movie, and that he loved working with Rachel McAdams. They had fun making it. But there's also a quote in the IMDb trivia, I don't think it's a good movie. Oh, I know it's crazy. I think it's the duality of my character. It's why I wanted to play it. The two thing, the nice guy and the bad guy in one. The only reason Red Eye appealed to me is you could do that turn. You know, I love Rachel McAdams and we had fun making it, but I don't think it's a good movie. It's a good B movie. There's the quote, apparently, which is just mental.
I just wanted to work with Wes Craven.
Yeah. Apparently they cast Brian Cox as well after seeing him in The Bourne Supremacy, which was released just the year before this was.
Yeah.
Where he was at least 60 pounds heavier and with white hair. He arrived on set, though having lost a lot of weight and with dyed red hair for a play he was doing in Scotland. So I wonder if that changed the direction of his character, or not that he does much other than wait by the phone in this.
I was about to say, he's sat waiting by the phone or just flicking on the TV. That's pretty much what he does for like the first hour.
Although this is from around the time when we were watching quite a few films and Brian Cox would crop up in it and he'd always be someone's dad.
Yeah.
In this, he's Rachel McAdams' dad.
He's Mark Wahlberg's dad in The Corruptor.
Yeah, he's obviously Jason's dad in X2.
Yep.
He was many people's dads around that time.
Yeah. He's just the father of cinema.
Yeah. They also knew that they were in a race to beat Flightplan to theatres.
Yeah.
So the time from inking the deal to delivering a director's cut was only 5.5 months.
Yeah.
Apparently also Wes Craven shared some laughs remembering how certain members of the press criticised technical mistakes with the airline's windows not matching from interior to exterior shots. The 767 having a 747 door when seen from outside, etc. But I mean, I think they're easy to overlook. Is anyone actually paying that much attention to an aeroplane?
Yeah.
Because this set, everything filmed inside the aeroplane anyway, was just a set on hydraulics for the turbulence, etc.
Yeah.
Which is a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, I feel like they were doing that quite a lot back then.
Yeah.
I think they'd done Heroes as well.
Possibly.
Which was a big thing for
Yeah.
TV back then. I remember watching it on the behind the scenes.
Also in the film, for those that have seen it, I guess we're entering spoiler territory now. Cillian Murphy gets stabbed in the neck by a pen.
Yeah.
In the script, apparently, it's such a weird detail to put in the script. The pen is topped with a Bart Simpson topper.
Yeah.
In the film, it's changed to a monster because apparently they couldn't get the rights to use a Bart Simpson one. But if you went to special advanced screenings of this film in Los Angeles and New York, audiences were given replica copies of the monstered pen used for memorabilia. And attached to the souvenir was a tag that read, Red Eye in theatres August 19th. And on the back read, don't take the red eye without this. And then a link to the movie's official website, www.redeyethemovie.com.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had one of those pens, just in case you ever see Cillian Murphy. Just get him before he gets you.
Just give him it and tell him he did a great job in that B-movie short.
Yeah. It's crazy to think this was the same year as Batman Begins as well.
Yeah.
Which the trailer actually manages to put in when it credits him. At the end of the trailer, it actually credits him for being in Batman Begins.
All right.
And Rachel McAdams for being in The Notebook,
Right.
which I think was just a year before then.
Yeah.
And to speak of Rachel McAdams, there's a scene where, I think it's near the end, where Cillian Murphy is trying to kill her and she's now in her house. And we see a cheerleading outfit. And I said to you, oh, look, apparently she must have been a cheerleader.
Yeah.
What a random piece of detail we need to know. Apparently the cheerleading outfit is a nod to her character in The Hot Chick,
Right.
which I think was 2002. I know I've seen it. It's not a great film. It stars, what's he called? From Judge Dredd, comedy guy.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
When I got to the end, I thought you were going to say either they changed it to her old family home that they go to
Oh, yeah, that was
from her father's new home.
yeah,
I thought you were going to say that.
that was a scripting choice was Craven made.
It was like the only one thing he changed, I think, apparently.
Probably, and that was when he was doing the pitch for it, wasn't it, as well?
I thought you were going to say that, or thought you were going to mention the fact she used a field hockey stick and then just hit some away. And we both said it at the same time, like, oh, putting that field hockey.
Yeah, it's such a fun film. It really is. And you can tell it's Wes Craven as soon as it goes all like slasher mode at the end, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Also, keeping in theme with Wes Craven, he got married midway through shooting this film to Aya Nabulka, if I'm saying that right.
Right.
According to, I can't remember where it was, but it weren't on IMDb. She's a producing partner that goes back with Wes Craven sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find a movie she'd actually worked on as a producer with Wes Craven. I mean, she'd produced Friday the 13th Part 6.
Nice.
Or was production manager on that, I'm not sure now. But she did produce Scream 4.
Right. Speaking of Scream, Marco Beltrame is on the music for.
Yes. You love that guy, don't you?
I'm getting sick of saying his name lately.
Was he not on last week's episode as well?
He's everywhere.
Am I not right in thinking he'd done Darkness Falls last week's
I
episode?
think last week was his week off. Yeah, last week was a week off for him.
Oh, what had he done the week before? I'm sure you've mentioned him recently on here.
Terminator last time he was on it. It was Terminator 3.
Right.
It was Hellboy before. It feels like I've been reading his name out every
Last
week.
week's guy, it was Brian Tyler, because I know he's one of your music guys as well, isn't he?
Yeah. But the cinematographer on this is Robert D. Evan.
Right. I've
He-
never looked them up, I'll be honest on this one.
He did Dogma.
Ah,
And then he's pretty much done all of Wes Anderson's movies, so I made a note of, I think he got the wrong Wes.
yeah.
He just saw Wes come across the table and was just like, that's Wes Anderson, I'll work with him again.
I mentioned the props, but there's also another little prop fact I quite liked, and it's to do with the plane tickets in the film.
Yeah.
Did you read this?
Yeah, I can't remember what it says on him.
It is what it says on IMDb anyway. For the movie, fake airline tickets were printed up for passengers to carry and use. On the back was listed 12 terms and conditions for buying the ticket, just like on a real airline ticket. However, the 12th read, all the provisions of this passenger ticket and baggage claim check are completely bogus. It's all a bunch of excessive detail, and if you happen to be reading this, you've got too much time on your hands. Bring a good book next time. I thought that was quite funny.
I'd use it as a bookmark.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a lovely bookmark. Although, speaking of books, well, it's not quite the same as books. Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams spent quite a bit of time between shoots for this film doing crosswords together, sat next to each other doing crosswords, apparently. Did you read that anywhere?
Yeah.
Rachel McAdams said it was quite nice. Cillian Murphy would always turn up with the crossword to do, and she'd sit next to him and chime in. I thought that sounds nice. I'd love to do crosswords with Cillian Murphy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you.
I don't know Cillian Murphy. That doesn't help. I don't think he'd appreciate if I just found him through some sort of cyber stalking and sat next to him.
It would be funny.
Are we moving on to Flight Plan?
Was there something you were going to say about the budget?
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
I thought it was 26.
Yeah.
Well, you said 20.
Yeah, because in the trivia somewhere, it said that the budget was originally supposed to be 44 million,
Right.
but they cut it to 25.
Right.
But now I'm wondering, I would say, but did they cut it by 25? But then that'll be a different figure completely. It's not on that day for me today. It's too early.
It is estimated at 26, so
Yeah.
it could be 25 something. Maybe it's 25 and a half and someone just didn't know which way to go.
They rounded up. But yeah, that was all I wanted to say about the budget thing.
Right.
That was interesting as first thought, I guess.
No,
But thanks for reminding me. Here's something I forgot. Early on in the film, there's a part where Rachel McAdams gets a nice drink spilt on her.
yeah.
She didn't know how cold the drink was, so her reaction is true. But apparently the drink was never supposed to be spilt on her at all. It was a pure accident, and they just decided to keep it in, which I thought was pretty good.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Made it look natural.
Yeah, I can't remember where I saw this or read this or heard it, but somebody credited the writing on this team for being pretty good with how they gave Cillian Murphy's character the problems the writer was having, with how they had to keep him always trying to guess what Rachel McAdams is doing so they can keep her on the plane, etc. So it makes him a smart antagonist, but they're basically just giving him the problems the writers are having of how to keep her on the plane and what stops her simply getting off the plane, etc.
Right.
Which I thought was a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Whether that's intentional on the writer's part or not, I think is irrelevant because that's kind of what you should be doing as a writer when you want to be doing that with a character now.
Yeah.
I just thought that was worth bringing up.
Yeah.
He's actually doing a lot of anticipation on his part once he's got on the plane with her, isn't he, to try and keep her there and so on.
Yeah. I do think it's pretty good when they're on the plane.
Yeah.
It does build suspense quite well.
Yeah.
Once they get off the plane, I don't really feel there's any suspense.
No, that's when it gets a bit laughable because even when it goes all slasher in the end when they're in her house,
Oh, that's just
it's
pure-
quite funny. And but to me, it's pure Scream.
Yeah.
If he had the ghost face mask on, you wouldn't know it's not a Scream movie you're watching.
Yeah.
I'm happy to move to Flight Plan if you are, unless you've got more to add to this.
Is it a spoiler going on about that rocket launcher thing?
Not really, no.
Because they set that up quite early on. I think it's in the opening. I think you do see them prepping that bit, and then you're waiting all movie for that to come.
I think you see him shipping it.
Yeah, they put it in the water, and then later it comes into play. You know, oh, Jesus Christ.
Because to me, I guess because we've recently watched Nightmare on Elm Street, it's very reminiscent of seeing Freddy Krueger build the glove at the very opening, and it's like, why am I seeing this?
Yeah.
And then it comes into play later, and you're like, oh, okay.
It's just such a weird element in the film for me.
Yeah. I mean, Wes Craven's such a great director, though.
Yeah, I think he proved that he could do quite a bit of anything just in this movie as well.
Yeah.
He's like, here, I'm a bit of a rom-com. Here, I'm a bit of an action flick. Here, I'm a bit of my usual slasher.
Yeah. I guess a lot of his films always include those sort of things to him anyway, don't they?
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street's a bit of comedy in itself as well, which then goes into Scream.
Yeah.
Scream, I feel, is quite similar to Nightmare on Elm Street in its structure and everything, but then slashes. So,
Yeah, exactly.
moving on to Flightplan.
Yeah, apparently. I don't like this flight, that's for sure, so let's change.
Changing flights to Flightplan.
Did you happen to see a little girl go by here?
No, I'm looking for my daughter. She's 6, my daughter. We saw us. I was carrying her. She has sandy hair. She's probably carrying a chenille bear. We can't find my daughter.
Does anybody remember seeing the girl?
No.
No, sir.
What aren't you telling me? What aren't you telling me?
I'm sorry, but I don't think that she's here.
Directed by Robert Wendt, and it's on a budget of $55 million, and it grossed $223,387,299. Written by Peter A. Dowling and Billy Ray, and stars Jodie Foster as Kyle Pratt, Peter Sarsgaard as Carson, Sean Bean as Captain Rich, Kate Bean as Stephanie, Erica Christensen as Fiona. Synopsis: a bereaved woman and her daughter are flying home from Berlin to America. At 30,000 feet, the child vanishes and nobody will admit she was ever on the plane.
It's pretty good, this film, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a great thriller.
I enjoy it thoroughly until maybe the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is similar to Red Eye. It's all great to a point,
Yeah.
and it kind of, this I think loses itself a bit more.
I hope what I'm going to say makes sense.
Right.
Flightplan is the better film. Red Eye is more enjoyable.
Yeah, I'd say so. Because of Red Eye being such a fun film, as Cillian Murphy puts it, B-movie.
Yeah, this is
Really?
more thriller from the beginning.
Yeah,
as well, isn't it?
yeah, and it's very well made. It takes itself a lot more serious as
Yeah.
well. So that kind of doesn't help when it hits that last act,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, oh, this is a bit too far. But other than that, I think it's great.
In the cast, you said Sean Bean's in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to reveal if he is alive or dead at the end of the film,
You want me
because
to
he's famous for dying.
Do you want me to put a vote on the...
And I, yes.
If you haven't seen it,
Because I just don't want it confirmed if he's dead or not.
we should do more Sean Bean movies and always have a vote. If they haven't seen it, just vote if you think he's going to make it or not.
Or maybe it's a Fellowship of the Ring thing where he's nearly at the end. Nearly.
But for them people who haven't seen Fellowship of the Ring either,
Yeah.
he may live or
Yeah.
he may die.
You said Jodie Foster's in this as Kyle Pratt, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
She's called Kyle because the role was apparently for Sean Penn.
Yep.
And I thought, somebody really wanted Sean Penn on a plane.
Yeah.
And I think he has a pilot's license, but I don't know if he had it back then. But the more interesting part to that is Jodie Foster. She was intended to be the lead, apparently, for The Game.
Yeah.
Sean Penn didn't take
Yeah.
a role in.
Yeah, from 97.
Yeah.
David
Yeah.
Fincher
Yeah.
movie.
Brilliant film.
Yeah, it is.
Bit like this, I think it gets a little comical towards the end.
Yeah. While we're about possible casting choices, so I'm going to mention that Portia de Rossi and Christina Ricci was also offered the role of Kyle. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because they are in the 2005 movie Cursed by Wes Craven.
Yes. Yes.
So I just wanted to bring
That-
it kind of...
Wait, all three of them? Or just those two?
Just those two are in
Nah. What was that? Portia de Rossi and Christina Ricci?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Jodie Davis was also apparently in contention for the role.
Yeah.
Looked her up, had no idea who she was.
No.
She's in like an episode of many TV shows here and there, but really don't know who she is.
Yeah, so why do you offer this person such a role?
Yeah. When we first watched this as well, this is around the time Peter Sarsgaard just seemed to be in everything.
Yep.
Like he was just always there.
Yep.
And he was mentioned briefly last week because he had a tiny, almost missable part in The Cell.
Yeah,
The Cell?
yeah, the son.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
Yeah. I would say he looks very indifferent to be there in most of the things I've seen him in.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody look less enthusiastic about editing than him.
I've never related to such an actor before.
I don't understand why I like it when he's in things because he's just got one of those faces and it looks like he'd rather be somewhere else all the time.
Yeah, but he always somehow puts in such a great performance and it's so believable.
Kind of contradictory to what he's playing sometimes,
Yeah.
but like you still buy it.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those natural face expressions he's got. You know, like they say some people have a resting bitch face, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's something akin to that, what he has.
Yeah.
Because he just always looks so unamused by anything.
I just love it.
I think you could throw him a surprise birthday party and he would not particularly change his face about it.
You can imagine, he clearly doesn't like surprise parties. We shouldn't throw him these.
Yeah.
So then they just announce that they're going to give him a party. They're just like, oh, I don't think he likes parties at all. And then the next year he just says like, where's my birthday party?
Yeah. It's like, but you didn't like last year's. And like, I loved last year's film. What are you on about? And drank a case of beer. I got some great gifts and I saw my friends. It was wonderful. Plus the cake was delicious. And it's like, but Peter, you showed no expression to this. He's like, thought you knew me.
In my head, I can't picture him smiling.
No, I can't. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen him smile. Like, I'm pretty sure he smiles in Garden State.
Yeah.
But no recollection of the smile.
No, he's a great actor.
Yeah. I'd like to just mention the director briefly because this is such a great film and I think shows a lot of talent. And then he works on Red, R.I.P.D., which are both two comic book films for those that don't know. Insurgent, which I think is a young adult novel series. He did the first and second, and the third never happened.
Yeah.
I can't remember why the third never happened.
They didn't do well.
He directs the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe sequel thing.
Yeah.
Not Snake Eyes, the awesome Brian De Palma Nicolas Cage movie.
Same film.
And he directs a film called The Captain, which I can't remember what that is.
Based on a true story.
Yeah. I just feel his career's kind of tapered. Like, he peaked quite high with this. This is a big success.
Yeah.
Because Red did well enough it got a sequel, but he doesn't direct the sequel.
No.
R.I.P.D., if I'm right, destroyed the production company because it was that much of a bust.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds couldn't save that. That was before Reynolds had done Deadpool and got really big, I guess.
Yeah.
Insurgent, I think, was one of them films where it was losing money and that's why they never made a third.
Yeah.
But he did direct both of them.
You didn't mention Time Traveler's Wife, though, did you?
No, I forgot.
That's actually a well-made film.
Yeah, quite a good
film.
film. Eric Banner, Rachel McAdams.
I was going to say, hang on, that's Rachel McAdams. These movies just keep going in a loop.
Also, what's weird is Time Traveler's Wife got a TV series.
Yeah.
No to do with that. But one of the writers on it, when I say no to do that, I mean it's no to do with anyone involved with it.
Yeah.
But Peter A. Dowling, one of the writers, wrote a film, Black and Blue, a pretty decent cop thriller thing.
Yeah.
A British crime horror called Sacrifice.
Right.
And currently, of this year, a TV series called Red Eye, which as far as I know is not related to the movie Red Eye we just discussed.
No. Like I said, these movies keep going in a strange loop.
Whereas the other writer, Billy Ray, worked on a Shattered Glass movie, which I think we've discussed on here before. Can't remember why, but that's a great film. Based on a true story of a journalist.
Yeah.
Can't remember the guy's name.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah. Rosario Dawson, I can't remember who else now.
No, I can't think.
Well, I can't remember who the director for that is, but I think that might be how we've got to this film before, actually. Or did we mention it because this is also the writer of Terminator Dark Fate?
That's why.
Yeah, okay.
Because we're quite surprised.
Yeah, and he wrote Gemini Man, which is a pretty decent action thriller from Ang Lee.
Yeah.
But he also wrote Captain Phillips, which was a Tom Hanks hit from a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he wrote Overlord, which is a pretty good World War II zombie horror.
Yeah.
That's a good B movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess while we mentioned Tom Hanks starred in Robert Zemeckis' 2000 hit Castaway. Castaway apparently destroyed the instrument panel they used on planes when filming cockpits and stuff. And so a new instrument panel had to be built for this film.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good thing, because apparently that instrument panel was used on many films before it got destroyed on Castaway. So damn you, Robert Zemeckis. It took 5 years before another one had to be built, though.
Yeah.
So does that mean there was 5 years with no dials needed?
Yeah. I saw a lot of things about this film where it came to the plane itself. Did you see any of it?
Apparently it's a AALTO E474 and it's a fictional plane.
Yeah. Luckily it's a fictional plane because a plane would never be made like this.
I thought that while watching it.
Yeah.
When I was crawling through some of them panels.
I read about it. They were just like, a plane would not have this much space.
There's that massive room with servers in it.
Yeah.
And there's just so much space between the servers. I was thinking, buildings don't even have this much space between these server blocks.
Yeah. I'm reading about it. It really making me laugh. It was just like a plane wouldn't have this, the other. I was like, oh, God.
But apparently it looks like a real plane, a double-decker Airbus A330 to 800.
All right.
And the movie's cockpit is near identical to the A380s, apparently.
Right.
So, not all that fake, is it? I'm surprised I haven't seen this with it being a Hitchcock film. Did you see this? It shares many similarities to the 38 Hitchcock film, The Lady Vanishes.
Yeah.
No, that's on my list. I mean, it had been anyway, but now I've bumped it further up. And this is also the last film from Touchstone Pictures to be released on VHS.
I saw that.
Did you also see then that some countries, the flight hostesses' unions protested against it because it made them look bad?
Yeah, a lot of people who were decided they were boycotting it and watching it. Yeah. And all I was thinking is like, it is fiction.
Yeah.
I never expect a movie to portray an accurate depiction of anything. Otherwise, I'd think all police are bent.
You mean there are billionaires dressing up like mammals and rodents and so on and fighting crime? I guess I should take Elon Musk and Jeffrey Bezos off my Christmas card list and thank you, let us know. But they were real-life depictions of billionaires.
No, they're not all Batman.
But I think the tension's held really well in this film. And for a film from 2005, I think it did a great... Would it be spoiler to say it kind of plays with the trope that was quite big around that time.
Plays a good misdirect, I guess.
Yeah, which is great. Also, Jodie Foster puts a hell of a performance in this.
Yeah, which she really does.
Yeah, ever since Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
Did you apparently see that Peter Sarsgaard and Sean Bean were scared of flying?
Yeah, so I thought, it's looking at like a real plane.
Maybe for Sean Bean, he was scared to death. Or maybe he wasn't.
And Peter Sarsgaard, we just couldn't tell.
Yeah. Sean Bean is the captain, by the way, this, so his character weren't scared of flying.
That's good then, isn't it?
Yeah. Were you surprised he was British in this?
Not really.
I just assumed he was going to be American.
When I see Sean Bean, I never really expect to hear an American accent.
No.
I'd have been more surprised if he was American.
Yeah. I just assumed he would use an American accent in this, and he didn't. So kudos to him.
Man.
Also, for a pilot and captain in this film, don't seem to do much piloting.
No.
He stands around a bit, talks a bit.
Yeah.
Not much piloting.
We mentioned how in the last one they built a hydraulic. They sat on a hydraulic.
Yeah.
On this one, they didn't.
No.
They just decided they'll shake the camera.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's quite obvious in a lot of scenes. You just see the oxygen masks. They're just stationary while the camera just shakes around in the background.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, you're lowering your budget by having the shaky camera thing.
Yeah.
But Red Eye could have got away with the shaky camera thing, I think.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, build the hydraulic stage. And their budget was nearly half, if not less than half of what this was.
Yeah.
They should have built the hydraulics because that would have helped with the performance as well. When they're shaking, it would have come across a little more.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe that they wanted to keep the performance unchanged so it comes across a little more tense. And shaking the stage about, you're going to maybe throw your actors off. I don't know. But I did wonder that while watching it.
I don't think it ruins the film.
No.
If they didn't have to do it,
Well, I think it's because you are focused on the performance and not some of the background things. Something that might be a little obvious is you said Erica Christensen's in this.
Right.
I think she's most famous for is
Parenthood.
Yes. She's Dax Shepard's sister in Parenthood.
Yeah.
But apparently she hated wearing her heels in this. So if she's filmed from the waist up and you can't see her feet, apparently she won't be wearing the heels because they were very uncomfortable, apparently.
Right.
Which leads to a thing where it may be obvious, a height difference amongst the other flight personnel.
I don't really remember ever thinking she was shorter or taller in certain scenes.
No, I don't. But I think now I've said this, I think if you're watching the film knowing, it may become a little obvious.
I don't know. If I'm watching the movie knowing, I'd be distracted by Nicolas Cage.
2,996. Come on. What the hell is this?
It's not what I said. It is. And I guess while we're mentioning TV actors that are in this, Matt Bomer, this was his film debut.
Yeah.
And Matt Bomer, famous for playing Neil Caffrey in White Collar.
Yeah.
More recently, he was Negative Man in DC's Doom Patrol, which lasted 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And he did voice Superman after missing out on Superman for, I think it would have been Superman Returns or Superman Flyby before Bryan Singer came on.
Yeah.
In fact, I guess it would be most likely before Bryan Singer came on.
And the Blair Ratner one, I believe.
Yeah. He's also in one of your favourite horror films, isn't he?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning.
Yeah.
The year after. I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite horror films, but it's definitely one of the better ones in the Texas Chainsaw franchise.
Then you can have that opinion.
I will. It's my opinion.
I would say this is definitely the stronger of the films. But Red Eye's the more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I want to say there's not even much in it in runtime. Red Eye's maybe 85 minutes.
Yeah, I think they're very similar.
Which I think we came across as things similar to Darkness Falls with Red Eye.
Yeah.
The credits are very slow at the beginning with just like one name at a time for a while. And then the end credits, there is a lot of space as they slowly scroll up the screen. And I think it is to push the length of the film to get a theatrical release.
Yeah.
As it was with Darkness Falls. But I can't find that anywhere online. I did specifically Google that as well for Red Eye and got no results. But that's my belief from our experience with the trivia for Darkness Falls anyway. I can't remember the runtime for Flightplan.
It's an hour 38.
Right, so it's about 15 minutes longer.
Yeah.
But Flightplan takes a lot more time on the plane than Red Eye does.
Yeah.
Red Eye, was it about an hour in when she gets off the plane or 50 minutes in?
Something like that.
And it's maybe 10 minutes in before she's on the plane.
Yeah.
Whereas Flightplan, it's maybe 10, 15 minutes before she gets on the plane.
Yeah.
And then she's pretty much, would she be on the plane till the end, roughly? It is, isn't it?
Near enough, yeah.
So the fact they managed to do the whole thriller on the plane is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love that sort of like one location stuff anyway.
So, like I say, it loses itself a bit towards the end, but I really don't mind.
I don't want to say how either.
No.
The whole of this revolves around, did she have a child on board or not?
Yeah.
And if she did, where is the child?
Yeah.
And I think that's handled pretty well. Like I said, it's playing with some of the tropes around that time. And
Yeah.
like psychological tropes.
Yeah.
At that time. real or not real, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think this tackles it really well.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't mind a prequel to this either.
Yeah.
Yeah, because isn't it revealed that she's like a plane designer or engineer or something?
Oh, yeah.
Which is how she knows how to get around the plane.
Yeah.
Which I thought, how convenient. But if I'm right, that's not even part of the plot. It's just simply that she is.
Yeah, the plot goes a bit off the rails, but I think it kind of builds. I'd say it works its way up to the more unbelievable.
I don't think it's the fact it's unbelievable. I think it just seems to be a bit too much for what the film's been.
Yeah, it's really out there.
I can't think of an example now off the top of my head, which is good. Maybe I should have wrote one when I thought of it.
Yeah.
I don't feel we've said as much about this as we have Red Eye.
I think it's because the plot-wise, it's more about the reveal.
It's more contained, isn't
Yeah,
it? And you
and
can't spoil it.
Yeah, Red Eye, it's kind of revealed
Quite early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, it's built around.
I mean, even the trailer for Red Eye spoiled it.
Yeah.
Does that mean we're ready to wrap?
Yeah.
Or would you like to share some last thoughts on these two films? Because I definitely think they're a great double bill.
Oh, there, yeah.
But I would watch Flight Plan first,
Yeah.
Red Eye second.
Yeah, I think that's
Make
the
it
better
your
way.
B movie. The two.
I think it is the better way to watch them as well, because as this builds into it, like kind of nonsensical, because Red Eye enters it.
Flight Plan, I think, is your main course.
Yeah.
You sit down, you tuck in, and you enjoy every savouring moment, you know? And then Red Eye is the dessert, and you think, oh, I am going to wolf this down,
Yeah.
because it's just so enjoyably delicious.
Before we wrap up, because I do like to mention it, and it's usually my last thing to mention for some reason. Music is James Horner, most well known for Aliens, and I'll mention it for your sake. 48 Hours, another
48 Hours. We've mentioned them last week.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I'll bring that back.
And we nearly did them this week.
Yeah, I thought I'll bring it all back. I thought there's something in the stars there. Say, let's do 48 Hours.
Then have to at some point.
But on the score for this, there's no bass,
Okay.
and he tried to incorporate some of the sound effects into the score as well.
Okay.
So if you're listening to that, it's more focused on the emotional draw because there's no bass. It's more about the emotion. That's why I noted that I think there's a lot of piano in it.
Right.
Piano is usually best with.
I did really enjoy the score for this while watching it.
Yeah, the sound effects were to put you
In the plane.
Yeah, so it's really to build you into the atmosphere.
And the confinement.
Yeah, and put you in the shoes of the character.
Yeah. But I don't think I'd fit in Jodie Foster's shoes.
No, she's a small one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I do think that was quite an interesting thing.
For sure. Did we say about music on Red Eye? We did, didn't we? Finally.
Marco Bilcher, I mean, was my favourite. Yeah.
So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. Remember to join us again next week as we have decided flying maybe isn't for us and explore some of our favourite British indie films with Dead Man's Shoes and The Goal. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
What did you do to him? What did you do?